and some of those guys just, they're able to pull it off. Well, that's what I was asking, just to kind of fill in what.
It also makes me miss Philip Seymour Hoffman all the more.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Really, really good. That job, they had. I heard an interview with who's the guy who wrote Swingers and the Iron Man movies, Jon Favreau.
The guy from Queens.
I heard an interview with him one time. He was actually asked to read for the part. He read for Lester Bangs, and he just sort of like, it's like I guess I kind of had the size or something to do. He's like, but I don't know anything about me. Like didn't know who this guy was. You could see he was just so like. I wasn't the person to do this because I had no idea who he was, had no interest. But I don't know much about music. Like it was actually, he deflated me thinking that Jon Favreau was a pretty cool guy. Like
I guess so. Right. That's kind of a bummer to hear.
Yeah. So
I'm just sticking with this thing a second. It's so crazy to think that him and Vince Vaughn were in that movie Rudy. Like I knew, but when Swingers came out, that remember the phenomena of like Swingers? You guys?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like it was like, you got to see this movie. It's so back when there was that whole thing of like,
I didn't love it, and I still don't love it. And it was on recently. And I gave it another watch, and I was like, yep, that's a movie.
I totally. I was in LA. Like I know that lifestyle. Like so, it was like so. And it was a. Lonely in LA and having these little clicks around, it totally clicks with me.
There was a little bit of diner in that movie,
a lot
of diner. Fine, but I'll take diner over Swingers.
Yeah, when push comes to shove, I'm an East Coast guy. But there's a relocation Lost Guy in LA part of that movie though. That my 18 months in LA.
That's 9 months longer than I was there. Yeah. But I was going to say more of what I was going to say is more of the back when there was that time where you would have like an independent movie that wasn't in a big name or a lot of theaters. Same with Reservoir Dogs. When that came out, it was like in one theater in New York City and just kept playing there. And Swingers was kind of the same. But the fact that there were things like that, and that totally doesn't exist nowadays of like, there's this like low budget movie that came out. This hysterical.
There's actually a lot more of them. It's just, you don't.
They're all on streaming.
Yeah. And also, there's still programming at the super cool theaters. There's the Metrograph and there's there's still those kind of cool repertory places, where you could, you get turned on and stuff. I mean, even Alamo, like Draft House, the programming there, it's programmed almost like a radio station. They have like film festivals. And
wait, what is Alamo Draft House? Someplace in Brooklyn?
So there's
we're in the suburbs now. We don't know any of the cool stuff.
So I think Alamo. There's two of them. There's the Alamo Draft House. I'm forgetting what the other.
So they're serving cool crafted beer and
more than that. So I believe that one started in Austin, is the Alamo one, or right. And what
makes sense. Yeah.
They serve dinner at your during the movie.
You're getting like a $9 avocado toast and a it's burgers and fries and there's a bunch of IPAs to choose from or whatever. But you fill out the slip and and they bring the food in, like, so you have a table between you and the person next to you, right? So at these movie houses, are you getting a movie that is like a an art house film?
Everything.
Yeah. And then
so I like it. Like I went to go see, last time I went to one, I went to go see the Sparks documentary, and then prior to that I saw trying to remember, like, I saw what was the 70s movie that just came out? It was I'm gonna forget where it's the girl from Haim, and Seymour Hoffman's son plays the lead.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I can't
the
believe
girl from that band. Yeah,
from him. Yeah, and
there's something about pizza, not Mystic Pizza, but it's like
it's Licorice Pizza, which is named after the record store.
Yeah, there you go.
That was a record store chain. Thank you. Yeah, so like that, like I saw that there, like you.
Gotcha.
You know, a lot of the things that become for your consideration, like,
right.
But then they have trailers, and it's like it's Splatter Sundays, and it'll be like, you know, they'll show like 5 trailers for classic like slasher films, and then they'll have, you know, and they'll dig up, it's a double feature, and you've never heard of them before, but the credentials are like, it's, you know, it's you know, from the man who gave you 10,000
Roger Corman. Roger Corman production.
Almost by definition, everything Corman put up the money for everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, so things like, you know, like they'll have a Russ Meyer Film Festival and, you know, things like that. So
right.
Have you guys seen a movie called Lamb?
You were telling me about it.
Is this on a streaming service or on?
It was on
a theater.
No, it's on. Whatever. Like it's on some sort of.
You didn't see it in a theater.
Fios. Yeah. No, it's a Norwegian.
Yeah. Gotcha.
No, Icelandic. It was an Icelandic. Like I had to go. I was telling John, I guess. So like I had to go to the info to find out what are they calling this movie, and it was listed under horror, and I was kind of like, this is not like it was more freaky deaky, like in a you know, a baby is born in the barn with a child's body and a lamb's head, and they do a nice job putting it together. Like, but it's art house horror, you know, so it's got its own kind of thing that goes on with it and stuff like that. And
this is a relatively new film. Like in the past couple of years,
you know, Tony, it's a story about loss. It's about, you know, a husband and wife who have a stillborn baby, and like they have this baby, and like this baby shows up, but it's like born from like this beast from the woods that comes in, and it has, you know, relations with a ewe, and there's a lamb baby but I mean, it's like there's like, it's pretty wacky, and like, you know, it'll look like one of those kind of creepy, cold kind of, it's color, but everything's so like monochrome that it looks like a black and white film almost. Yeah. But it'll just feel like they'll just be walking down a road, and the lamb will be holding the mom or the dad's hand or something like that. And just that image enough is
it's like creepy.
It's just like, that's just strange, you know.
It's like Donnie Darko. That's another movie that was like one of those like underground buzz, you know. I don't know. I just not in the city. I'm not going to, you know, because of COVID. We're not going to, you know, I didn't go to movie theaters for a while. I guess it's more of, you know, you have kids. You're not going to the theater the way you see movies the way you used to when you pre-kids, and it's just like, so I'm so out of touch with stuff like that. But it's just like everything we're watching is online, so I'm unfamiliar with if that exists, where like, there's this movie that's been playing at the, you know, Waverly
Speaking
Theater.
Of, you didn't know it exists. I was driving home tonight, and there was a guy on FMU. So this would be for anyone who wants to look up who the Tuesday, 4 to 5, like 4 or 5 o'clock ish kind of slot in there, and he does a lot of punk rock and stuff like that. But it's all just like
not the 3-chord Monty guy.
No, it was kind of lazy today, and like in his show, like much like our show, it rambled and bumbled, and like he never told, like he never got a good story off too. He would start on something, and you thought you might get something, but he would take the easy way out of getting it out of whatever he was talking about. And but his show, ultimately, it's about the music, right? Like, you know, like, you know, you're not listening to it for the DJ unless you're listening, whatever. He plays some pretty good stuff. And so like I was able to hear like Norwegian hardcore, you know, like, and it's different, Tony. It's the same. Like you'd recognize it for it, like in the sense that like it's still pretty amazing how they change it around, how they make things different with it's not just, it's so reminiscent of old stuff. And yet like this one particular song I was listening to, the attack with the guitar was so jagged and so it would always come back, the way a good hardcore song would. It would always come back to this one particular theme. But there was a lot of stuff happening in it that was like, that did bring something a little bit new to the table and stuff like that. And I also think that part of it is that hardcore can still exist and be new. But it's reliant on the vocal attack too. Yeah, it's all about like how new the vocal, like it doesn't like, one guy sounded like who's the guy in the Beastie Boys who is it not Mike D, the other one, Adam, like where he's just where he's more or well I guess there's two Adams, so it's Ad Rock, where it's a little bit more
that kind of,
and but he did it well, and it was like, so it sounded like Ad Rock singing. But it sounded like, and it's funny because over the weekend, John and I were talking about the Beastie Boys and their hardcore roots and stuff like that. And it sounded almost like a Beastie Boys hardcore root kind of song. But the music is just slightly different. Like it's not just like, because how many combinations of, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was definitely 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of, they were moving it along,
So today's DJ the show was called Spin Age Blasters with Cremo Coil.
There it is.
From 3 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Oh, nice.
The theme was called Afford More Ears, and I'm looking through the list and there's some comments. There's a lot of this stuff was from 1990. It was a cassette only release. 1991. He did
say that he was putting some stuff up that he said this came out in 2012 as a compilate, blah, blah, blah. Yep.
I'm trying to think what would fall. So dog-faced Hermans, irreversible entanglements. Then there's things that I can't pronounce, like Sumazuk, which looks like it has bizarre accents over the Z and the C. Prate Me. There's a band called Imelda Marcos.
Norwegian hardcore.
Sniffe and the Knits song is called Chicken Liver.
Every once in a while, there'd be some sort of snap, crackle, pop song on there. And he might even say something about it too. Like, all right, let's have something that's loud and fast, because something would just be a little too arty, a little too, like sounds like, right, like someone's art project for college, recording class. Gotcha.
Yeah, there's definitely there's the choke, there's the runs, the debutantes, the others.
It sounds worth listening to.
Yeah. Well, it's if you go to WFMU, you could listen to
the archives. Yep.
Yep.
Doing it all the time.
Speaking of archives.
Yeah. Let's hear about yours.
I'm just saying we're rolling into, I think, our 90th minute.
The wee hour. Yeah. We got to start wrapping
it's not
up.
I will mention it's not the first time I've listened to that like there is part of me that says, oh shit, it's it's around that time, like it's Tuesday and it's my drive time home.
Yeah.
I remember this show, liking it, once before. So, and I just kind of go to it and I was like, you got to take the shit with the sugar. There's no doubt about it. Like there's some stuff that just comes on that you're like, like it's
during the day in particular, they like try to we're just going to play.
Well, I'm just talking about this particular show, you know, and so but it was worth the wallow because you'd hear something that sounded pretty cool, and I'd never heard it before, so that's what it's all about, I guess, right?
Right. That's how we've been doing it for almost 40 years now.
I still love it, running into it on the radio like that. So
yeah, exactly.
Like I said, he wasn't on his game, or it seemed to me anyway, like he was just kind of like, he was doing the flippant like, oh yeah, so that was a hardcore band, and you're like, right, like, and part of it sounds like like there's a woman on the station that I did a college radio show, I should say. Well, she was on the station. We were both on WRPR